Here with Emily Luciano, Canadian-based fashion blogger, interviewing with her a little bit more on the topic of blogging. So hi Emily, I just have a few questions to ask you about blogging.
Perfect.
So we'll start with, I abstracted a piece from the article, The Megaphone Effect, Taste and Audience in Fashion Blogging by Edward McCurry. And he asks that bloggers achieve audience by choosing, evaluating, engaging with clothing, and posting, which this attracts larger audiences. How do you attract your large audience?
I would definitely say that posting every single day is so important. It just lets the viewer come to my page every day and they see new content. That's super important, and you're always sticking to the same theme. In terms for me for Instagram, I stick to one filter on every photo, and that just keeps it super cohesive and consistent looking.
Awesome. So another article that I found by Marco Pedroni on Stumbling on the Heels of My Blog, he asks that and says that playing the game with various strategies and by gaining authority and trustworthiness are key factors to influencing credibility of a successful blog. How would you relate to that?
Well, in terms of that, I would definitely say that I advertise every single day in my outfits, and I do need to wear something that my followers need to gain trust in me. I started a year ago, right? So with that year, I was able to gain the trust from my following, and now when I wear something, they know that they can go out and buy it and be just as happy as I am. Whereas if I were not to do that and I lost trust, then that would mean that they wouldn't follow me because they wouldn't want to buy that piece that I'm just wearing for money, basically.
Okay, perfect. Another piece by David Terrace. He mentions that blogs are a web page on which people can post observations, gossip, news, advice, videos, photos, and advertisements, whereas posts appear in reverse chronological order so that visitors can follow a blogger's thoughts over time. And bloggers usually invite and receive comments from their readers so that successful bloggers attract a continuing flood of responses. I noticed that you always have a lot of engagement on your blog. What would you say that you kind of relate with your viewers the most?
Well, what's super important with blogging is what I think a lot of bloggers forget about, or they think they become this big celebrity in their head that they don't do anymore, is reply back to your followers. Engage with them, reply saying where you got the shirt if you didn't tag it, or just a thank you, like it's really appreciated on their end as it is on mine. So always say thank you and reach out to your followers. That's what's going to bring them back the next day.
Right. So Monica Titan, with Fashional Persona, Self-Identity and Enactments of Fashion Narratives in Fashion Blogs and Fashion Theory, she comments on how fashion bloggers constantly actualize and reinform their presentation of self-engagement in the construction of a particular form of mediaized self-narration through their fashional persona. I know that you definitely have a fashionable persona, and what is the truth behind that in your identity?
I think what's super important is sticking to a theme. I think for bloggers especially, sticking to a theme is super important. I mean, I have chose a theme about a year ago, and I have stuck up to it all the way to now, which is like a casual chic kind of look. And that's what my followers like to see, is that I'm super, natural. I keep the filter on every single photo the same, and they just know what to expect when they come to my blog.
Okay, makes sense. Also, Christopher Phil from the article Brands, Community, and Style, exploring linking value in fashion blogging. I know that there is a lot of value when it comes to fashion blogging and having a lot of exposure within the blogging community, but what makes blogging so special is having the differentiation between the both. And how would you express how you stand out the best?
I find it is sometimes hard to stand out. It's hard to look at another blogger and not obviously compare yourself. I think what helps is you find your inspiration through another blogger or something else, and then you narrow it down to what makes you feel great as someone just wearing the pieces of clothing, or you just makes you feel great. I don't know. It's basically just whatever you're putting on in the day and you feel great, that's what you should be doing.
Okay. So Karen Flecker from Blogging, just a contemporary review on blogging, says that the blogosphere has challenged this for bloggers, enabling scholars, established and emerging, to reach readers more quickly and potentially more broadly via their own self-publishing than through academic publications. So how would you stand out in sharing your opinions and styles that shape the mainstream culture? Do you think you adhere to mainstream culture? Are you outside the bubble of that? Or how would you?
I mean, I think blogging is becoming more mainstream. You know, like, I feel like everyone's kind of doing it, but for myself,
Basically
I feel...
shifting closer towards social media.
Yeah, and I feel like I'm relatable to my following. That means that they feel like they can wear what I'm wearing, or they can afford what I'm wearing, and that's super important, I think. And that, you know, blogging is becoming kind of like a career at the end of the day. You don't need to go to college, you don't need to go to university, but you're thrown into this blogging career, I would call it, and you can do all these jobs that you had to go to university or college for, and you're learning it firsthand on your own.
Excellent. Well, thank you for meeting with me
Thank
and
you
giving
for
me
having
a
me.
little bit of insight on blogging.